Alright, welcome back everyone, Zaf here on a free-to-play account. We just did floor 50 of normal Vulcan, so I do want to put a guide out for that, just so you can understand what we used. This account was graciously donated for the day by FaZe from our Discord server, so make sure you join. And I am doing like a free-to-play series where I go on your accounts and run normal Vulcan, showing you it can be done on free-to-play accounts, even with someone like me, who is pay to win, so I'm used to pay to win accounts. But let's just jump right into it and see what I ran to beat normal Vulcan. I'll also go over the run itself, showing you exactly what I did. Now, as you can see, of course we beat it, but let me show you what I ran. Let me go to my Hunter page. So starting things off, I did not use MEILIN. Yes, that's right. You can actually beat Vulcan without MEILIN. You just have to time your ultimate off, ensuring he doesn't do that stupid shield move where you actually would need MEILIN, because I find with Min, you're getting much more damage bonuses, at least in my opinion. Punishment is a very nice ability, increasing damage taken by your targets of 15%, very nice. And also, if you have him to A1, which a lot of you might have, his A1 bonus is fantastic. All team members' critical hit and crit damage increased by 12%, that's a lot, whereas MEILIN, if you look at her A1 bonus, it's alright, but not necessarily what we want. Core attack is not what Jinwoo uses, and Jinwoo is our main damage source for this run, so Min is arguably the best choice. That is if you run the ultimate damage route, which I did take. And then for your other two slots, it doesn't really matter what you use necessarily. Jiwoo is one of the best options because she's very easy to have advanced up, and also she provides break, which we do need for this run. It is elemental water break, so it's fantastic. Alicia does not matter at all for this run. The shield is nice, but we're only using her because she does provide us that much needed power we need. As you can see for artifacts, we're not using anything fancy, we're just using the Burning Curse set, bringing up our power as much as possible. You do want to try to at least get into that white zone, so your stats aren't nerfed, making it much easier, or at least not nerfed completely, of course. As you can see for Jiwoo as well, we're running the Greed set, it is quite helpful, and for Min, obviously Blessing set, so just an 8 set of each, nothing fancy. But when it comes to Jinwoo, this is where your artifacts are very important. You want to run this set here, but there is some flexibility. First off, you want to run a 4-set expert set. It is one of the best sets in the game, if not the best set, for a long drawn-out battle. As you can see when you land a crit, on the 4-set effect, it has a 50% activation bonus, meaning every other attack with a 1-second cooldown should net you 1.6% attack, stacking up to 100 times, so it's very useful. Same with the 2-set effect for Curse, giving us a 0.1% damage increase every 1 second, stacking up to 100 times, on top of the base 10%, but your other set, that being the other 2-set effect, can be either toughness, not too bad, or the one set I would prefer would be the one-hit kill set, giving us a 25% ultimate skill damage increase, which is quite nice for this run. Arguably, this is the best set loadout for the game. Things like Power of Destruction would really take advantage of this set as well, so make sure you consider this loadout when you run anything in the game, especially a long drawn-out battle. And for our weapons, as you can see, this is obviously a free-play account. They got lucky with the Moonshadow, so it is A4, but you're not using Moonshadow for the damage. It doesn't necessarily matter what advancement this is. Obviously, Precision is nice, that does let us deal more damage, but I believe we are nerfed since our attack doesn't meet the requirement, but that's okay. Our Plum is at A2 as well, but A1 Plum is really where we draw the line of becoming very useful. We're not really dealing too much dark damage, so not too useful for the A2 bonus, but A1, very nice. Critical rate increase of 32% and crit damage increase of 32% as well, but in this case, I am using Moonshadow's effect rather than Plum's. I feel like with Moonshadow we're dealing more damage, given how advanced up this weapon is. The stacking effect is pretty nice, where the target's damage taken increases by 15%, very useful. So you'll see in our run, I do prioritize Moonshadow over Plum before using our ultimate. So this is our loadout. And for hunter weapons, nothing fancy. A5, a lot of you will have this. And then A1 for Min's weapon. So clearly a free-to-play account. Let me just show you. I feel like there might be doubters, but really the loadout isn't that good on this account because it is free-to-play. You can see they've drawn 1,850 times, so it is a free-to-play account. They don't have any passes purchased. Let's go to shop, and you'll see here these are not purchased, so free-to-play account. Let's jump into it. Let's see how we did normal Vulcan. It was honestly a very good battle, so let's just jump right in. And oh, I should mention our blessing stones and skills. I just went with the standard set. We went with the water multi-strike, getting that break off right away, very helpful. And also armor break. The iceberg version is so good, super strong, so we obviously ran that. The almighty break and the freeze does help. You can go with other runes here. This one honestly isn't too bad. High speed rotation, gets our ulti off much faster. You can replace it with multi-strike, but I prefer that, much easier. And for ultimate, very standard. And blessing stones, we went with double-edged sword. Pulverize, of course, getting a damage in. When Vulcan is broken, you can go weakness detection, but for us, we don't have a water elemental weapon, so not useful. Sharp perception is very good, giving us 10% crit rate bonus, fantastic. And reawakening, fantastic as well, giving us a cooldown reduction of 8% globally, very nice. Obviously, other blessing stones you can go for, but for our run on this account, this was the ideal. And now we're gonna jump into it. I'll show you a play-by-play, telling you exactly what to do. That way you can manage to beat normal Vulcan. And just quickly looking at these set effects here, you can see nothing fancy. Crit rate, damage increase. They're pretty average artifacts, nothing crazy at all. Attack +2, damage increase, critical damage, that's pretty good. Crit damage, HPC. Yeah, these aren't too crazy. This one's really good though. Attack and critical damage, very nice. And then yeah, nothing fancy here. So anyone can do this. And I should mention one more thing. If we go to game mode, we go to workshop here, and I show you what blessings we got, because blessings are pretty important for this build. We got a lot of ultimate skill damage. Because we're using Min, we want a nuke before the shield comes up. So ultimate skill damage, damage, and then 2 not so useful ones. So you can just get 4 ultimate skill damage, very easy. It takes a bit to do, but it's worth it if you want to beat normal Vulcan. As you can see, our last 2 blessings weren't necessarily useful, though dash is actually not that bad. I just took it because I didn't want to run it anymore. And 6% attack, it's alright. The ultimate skill damage is what you want, or critical hit damage. Those 2 are the ideals. So in my opinion, going ultimate skill damage, critical hit damage, or maybe even attack is arguably what you want in a run. It gives you the biggest benefit. So yeah, let's do a replay of this run so I can show you exactly what I did. Alright, so let's start things off with the replay. I'm going to do a step-by-step. Now, the first thing you want to do when you spawn in is you do have 2 options. You can either just wait for him to attack, and then you can use your shadow step, start using your break moves, and then use Jiwoo, or whatever break hunters you have. What I do is I sometimes, you'll see here potentially, I try to land a few shots either with whatever break skill I have, or I try to auto attack. That's because I want to build stacks up on the expert, making the run even easier. Don't forget, we get 1.6% attack every single stack, and it is on a cooldown. So we do want to start stacking those off ASAP. So as you see, it's going to attack, and you always want to watch out for these rings. When it's approaching to around the 90-ish% mark, that's when you want to dodge. Just watch the rings. Don't focus too much on what you're doing. You're just spamming your skills, breaks, etc. Because this isn't when you're doing your moves. You want to make sure you survive. Then you can stack up all your moves, and you'll see in a second. Anyways, we're going to continue. Shadow step, using our breaks, Jiwoo, etc. And oftentimes, you might get hit. If you have Jiwoo, that's not a problem, or Alicia. But I do want to remind you, you can actually hide in between these spots right here. You don't get hit in these spots, so there is that AoE range move, but it doesn't necessarily do too much damage. But anyways, those spots are ideal, otherwise you can just dodge. And as you can see, we got 2 multi-strikes off in that time, so that's why I use it in the beginning. It's not a problem using it right away, even if the skill doesn't fully resolve. So plenty of time to land 2 multi-strikes before he does that dashing move, which you'll see in a second here. And when he does, ideally you will dodge, or you can technically position yourself so you don't get hit. You'll see in a second here, we didn't get hit. There's like a sweet spot where you're not getting damage done to you. Let's continue. We use our full kit here, just to build up the counter on our ultimate. We want to use the ASAP. I don't plan on using my full set just yet. We still need to break the target, of course, so just stealing damage, trying to get stacks off, until we can get that massive combo off. Not here, but I'm using my shadows. Obviously it's a good move, just stealing damage when I can. This is my personal preference because I know my ultimate's gonna come up in the rotation after I do all these moves, so it's fine to use your shadows, etc. as long as you have the shadow step defense decrease applied. Right here it does come off, so you have to make sure you do keep track of it. It is very important. And also, if you have any blessings, you want to make sure they are applied before you use your ultimate or even any skill effects. As you can see, we have Plum and Moon Shadow, and it is almost impossible to get both effects off since they last about 3 seconds. So if you want to use one skill, make sure you use the one that'll deal the most damage, and by most damage I mean it'll give you the highest multiplier for your ultimate. In my case, it will be Moon Shadow. So generally, I want to use Plum and then Moon Shadow, and then the ultimate, but any combination really works. They are pretty close in their damage buff, so don't worry too much about that. But anyways, we're going to continue, and now we use Shadow Step, use our skills. We're just going to stack all these skills up, use the E, and then now we're either going to use Plum or Moon Shadow after dodging potentially. You'll see. So we're going to dodge. I might wait here for one more Shadow Step. That way our previous offense decrease doesn't affect our damage too much. So we're going to do that, one more dodge, and then I'm going to Shadow Step here. Boom, super easy. Use one of these two skills. Now I'm assuming, there we go, Moon Shadow. And then yeah, you saw there, we used our ultimate, getting the most damage off. And you can see the HBR Vulcan going down like crazy. So around 82%, and it just gets completely melted all the way to 66. That's why timing is so important. And I do want to remind you, look how many stacks we have on. That's why you want to keep on auto attacking, keep on using any ability you have. That way when you land a crit, it does automatically land a stack, which is exactly what we want. 34 stacks is honestly a lot of damage. It gives us an insane attack increase, so that's why you want to use it. And again, we use Moon Shadow, getting the skill off, allowing our ultimate to deal the most damage possible. Now here, you see I'm spamming my auto attacks. That's because when you spam your autos, your mana regenerates. Let me show you. A lot of people might not know this. So you'll see in a moment here, see I'm spamming my attacks, my mana goes up. Easiest way to get your mana up, I do recommend it. Always spam your autos like crazy once you're in this phase. After you do 2 dodges, you can also spam your autos here. Super simple. I just want to show you can do that. Super easy. And then when the boss spawns, sometimes I'll run to him and start doing auto attacks. That's because I want to build up more stacks on Eclipse if I get that lucky crit in. And then I use Shadow Step after we dodge this move, apply as much damage as we can, and the magic number we are looking for here is 50%. When Vulcan gets to 50%, he hides away, and by hide I mean he becomes invincible, goes to the middle of the map, does that dashing pillar move. So you kinda wanna save your ultimate if you haven't used it yet. After he does his dash, after he runs into the pillar, and after he does one more move. When he dashes into the pillar, you don't have any opportunities for Shadow Step usually, though I guess you can kind of wait for him in front of the pillar, but I don't recommend that, no point. So you're just gonna do this, get autos off, use your skills, etc. Shadow Steps, just building up as much power on your ultimate as you can. Here we use our shadows after Shadow Stepping, and then we're using all our skills, Plum, Moon Shadow, etc. Multi-strikes. I'm looking to get to that 50% mark. You'll see in a second. Once we get to 50%, and be careful here, you might get hit like I did. That's totally okay. Just get hit once maximum in this run, no more than that. Otherwise, you'll have a very bad time. And see here, 50%, no more damage. He'll move his fat butt in the middle. There you go. And now look for the pillars. It'll come up shortly. There we go. So you just want to hide behind them and then wait for his dashy move. And then boom bam, super simple. Use your skills if you want here. You want to save Moon Shadow and Plum. You can use your regular break skills though. And then now, when we use our Shadow Step, we can now use Moon Shadow, Plum, and an ultimate, presumably, and then also use your min abilities. By min, I mean your hunter's abilities to boost your damage. Super simple. Our ultimate should come up here, and boom, we just got it. Be careful for the jump. If he jumps, you might miss your ultimate, if I remember correctly. There we go. We absolutely nuked him. One more time, super easy. And then now he is at that 30% mark, so he's gonna hide away. Super easy. I think he gets to that point at 40%, so I believe once you go to 50 to 40, he hides away, or is it 35? You know, I can't recall, because that point in time, I usually burst him down, so I don't remember too well, but it's around that 40% mark. He'll hide away. Again, I'm auto-attacking, building up our mana, and again, I do want to remind you how important it is to auto-attack as much as possible. As you can see, we're at 69 stacks, giggity, so that's a lot of attack built up on Jinwoo. This will be the difference between a win and a loss. This is a lot of attack damage, so we're going to continue, auto-attack, get those stacks up, Shadow Step when we can, and we do have our full combo here. I am going to use it. The sweet spot now is at 15%, so because we're running min, we do not want to get him under 15%. We want to use our ultimate when he gets around that 15% mark to nuke him down. And there is a trick, even if you get him to lower than 15%, if he's in an attack animation, he will not hide away until after that animation does resolve, so do keep note of that. But anyways, we're going to continue. Super simple, just steal as much damage as you can. Make sure to get those Shadow Steps off for that defense increase. As you can see, you always want this applied. Very simple strategy. And then when he does this move, I kind of just hide away. It's a bit of a pain, but yeah, we're going to continue, deal damage. If we use one more Shadow Step, we can use our shadows. I think we do that here, or do we save it? No, we save it, that's fine. And yeah, you're watching the HP, super important. And now I know we're in that range, so we're going to use all our skills, use our Plum when we plan to use our ultimate. You'll see that in a moment here. We might get one more Shadow Step off, there we go. And then I'm going to use Plum, I already did. Bad timing with the Plum. Be careful with the Plum, so I'm just going to wait here. We have plenty of time. We don't want to get him lower to 15%. I'm really watching his HP here. You do not want to mess this up. And here we go. I can land the kill here. He's in that animation. I froze him just in case, since he might have gotten out of that. And then super simple. This should be the end of the battle. Our ultimate from 15% and done. Yeah, so you saw there, free to play Vulcan. Not too difficult, but you still need a setup. You can run this with different hunters, weapons, etc. A lot of people use Westwind. It is one of the stronger weapons you can use. Just hope for those crits, and then you'll finally be able to beat them. But with this build, we use Moon Shadow and no MEILIN, showing you it can be done. So if you enjoy this guide, drop a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you have any pointers for me, or if you have any questions, drop them down below. I'll be sure to address it. This was Zaf signing out.